Okay, round two. Hey guys, hope you're well, and I wanted to just check in today. Me and the guys have been getting ready for our reopening of LPT Kettering, reopening our gyms in Northampton and Kettering, ready for our big opening next week. Well, actually, we're opening on Saturday, but I thought it'd be a really good time to share some top tips of how you can think about getting back on the health and fitness wagon. I've been talking to lots of our members over the last week or so, and lots of them have told me how they've found lockdown really hard. They've maybe gained stone, 2 stone, maybe a little bit more, or just been stressed, not sleeping well, getting into bad habits. So, if that's you, if you've been struggling, then I want to share a few simple strategies that you can get started with right now. So here are my top 7 quick top tips to get back on the health wagon. Okay, so here we go. So number 1, no surprise, is get your goals written down. If you haven't done this already, it's going to really help you focus. Okay, get them written down. I actually did a podcast of exactly a complete blueprint of how to do this. So all the way from setting your long-term goals, all the way bringing it back to what your daily goals are. I think it's episode 27. So if you're not already subscribed to the Mastering You podcast, do that first, because that will get you focused. As soon as you start writing down your goals, mentally, you'll start to be in tune with the things that you need to do. If you're lacking motivation, if you're lacking discipline, if you're feeling a bit meh, if you've lost your mojo, you need to write down your goals. Just get a bit of paper, get a pen, write down your goals, okay? And go through exactly the format that I shared with you in episode 27. Now, tip number 2 is particularly for those of you that are feeling a little stressed, finding getting back into whatever normal is. I'm not quite sure what the new normal is yet. I think we're all still finding out, right? But I recommend, rather than trying to change everything at once, is choose the things that you feel you have most influence over. So one of the questions that a lot of people, well, not questions, but one of the struggles a lot of people have is knowing what to choose first. So maybe they've picked up a lot of bad habits. Lorna, you just asked when we're up and running. Lorna, we're up and running pretty much as of next week. So yeah, drop me a message and I can give you more details on that. So yeah, starting with what you might have most influence over. So this is basically choosing the habits, behaviors that will require the least amount of motivation, okay? And this will help you, because as soon as you start to actually implement some easy big wins, right, that actually builds momentum. So let's say you've been drinking a bit too much alcohol, which I know so many people have done, okay, including myself, right? I nipped this in the bud a month or 2 ago, but I realized that the holiday period of lockdown was actually starting to catch up on me. And I'm sure many of you watching this or listening to this have experienced the same. And so an easy big win might be just to curbing the alcohol intake a little bit, right? Giving yourself a day of the week when maybe you treat yourself to a glass of wine or 2, but maybe if it's starting to sink into every couple of days or even every night, then there's problems, right? It's going to affect your sleep. It's going to affect your waistline. It's going to affect your energy levels. It's going to affect your motivation. So going back to the main point of number 2, what do you have most influence over? What do you can change today, tonight? Maybe it's going to bed 15 minutes earlier so you can sleep better, okay? Maybe it's eating more whole foods, and you can start that tonight by having a healthy dinner, yeah? Start that ASAP. Start with something really easy, and then you can build on the momentum, Okay, so firstly, number one, we've got write down your goal. Number two, choose a habit or behavior you can have easy amount of influence over. Number three is to do with activity, fitness, and exercise. Okay, if you are struggling a little bit with the motivation of that side of things, just start again with something that you would enjoy. I think enjoyment is something that's really underrated. Now, I had this kind of like bit of a light bulb moment just this week. So, my wife won't mind me sharing. So she's been struggling a little bit with motivation to exercise as well. 2 kids, full-time job. I know any mums watching this, any full-time working mums will be able to fully understand how hard that can be as well, right? But she likes her cardio. She used to like running, but she's got back problems. So it was a birthday, so I brought her a bike, and I don't think I've ever seen her so happy about exercising because we found something that she enjoys. She likes outdoor exercise. She likes doing cardio. So we've got her a nice sort of hybrid bike. The key thing here, guys, is finding something that's going to get you again motivated. It's going to build the momentum. So if you like, let's say I like taking my little boy to the park and knocking a football around. Like I like getting my steps in by maybe taking my little girl to cycle and I'll run along the side with her because it's combining. Like if you can combine two things you like I love spending time with my kids and my family, so if I can spend time with my kids and I can get my cardio in at the same time, it's double win, right? If I'm lifting weights, I'll usually listen to either a playlist that I'm like really loving, or I'll listen to like a podcast or something where I'm going to learn. I'm just one of these people, I like to kind of get more stuff done in less time if I can. So you need to find out what works for you. But so tip number 3 is find out what you enjoy. What is it you enjoy, exercise or movement wise? Maybe for some people it's just going for a walk. I must admit, this whole lockdown period has made me really enjoy walking. I never used to like value it that much, but I don't think you realize how cool something is until it's not there, or when it is there, and when it's the only thing that you've got. So for me, going for a walk, it gives you a chance to clear your head, gives you a chance to think, gives you a kind of a de-stress time as well. Hey Hina, hey Cheryl, hope you're well. What have we got next? Number 4, I think a really good tip, guys, at least to start with, is to aim for 1 hour per day of self-care. Just at the very least 1 hour for you. Yes, I'm looking at you, Cheryl, Hina, Lorna, anyone else listening. Okay. Now this self-care, when we talk about self-care, we're something that's going to improve your mental, physical and emotional health. Okay, that's the big 3 we're looking at on self-care. Okay, if you're spiritually inclined, then you can include that as well. But the big 3 generally we focus on at LPT are physical, mental and emotional health. Okay, what are the big 3 for you? So, an hour is not a long time. So it could be 30 minutes, could be exercise. You could be 10 minutes, could be doing like a headspace meditation, or a breathing drill, and another 10 minutes could be like reading a book that you enjoy, or reviewing your goals, reflecting on your goals, recording your habits or your food. So basically looking at, working on you, basically, just 1 hour a day. Now, you could go as far as like setting a timer to it, putting it in your diary. Now, if you're already involved in a training program, like we've got a few members on here, then it's like part of your day-to-day or week-to-week regime anyway. So that's great. It's already in there. But if you're out of the routine, this is the thing I'm finding with a lot of people that are so out of the routine of doing stuff for themselves, for their health and their wellness, then you need to program this in. You need to actually schedule it into your diary. I recommend that a weekend is something you do, like on a Saturday or Sunday. You schedule it in for the week ahead, and then you review that the night before. What am I going to do today? Tomorrow. So that was number 4 on my 7 tips, was aim for 1 hour of self-care a day. Number 5 is a big one. Number 5 kind of puts all of these, by the way, that these sound like they're in an order. They're not meant to be in order. They're just, it's going to be pick one that's going to work for you. But number 5 does actually put all 4 of the ones that we've gone through so far together. Get yourself accountable. Accountability is really key. Being accountable to someone is important. So if you work with LPT, we'll be asking you regularly how you're doing, what your goals are, etc. But if you're not working with any coaches or any coaching team, or if you're just kind of working on your own, you can still be accountable. You can still talk to your husband or spouse, or set a goal with a group of friends. Yeah, you can even make yourself accountable by doing what we call go public. Right, so if you've got a goal to maybe lose a stone by September or August, no, not August maybe, because we're not far away, but by the end of August maybe, then go public with it. Stick it on Facebook, or stick it in, you can make a bit of a joke of it, but the studies do show that when you go public on a goal that means something to you, the likelihood of you achieving it, because like humans, we hate to look stupid, right? It's why public speaking is one of the biggest fears. We just hate to look silly. So if you go out and you write down your goals and you share them with the world, then yes, it's going to be scary. Yes, it's going to be hard, but the likelihood of you achieving it is going to be far, far higher. So that's another little strategy for you, is number 5, get yourself accountable. Okay, number 6, this is one that we were talking about today in one of our members groups. This is on nutrition. Okay, if you are struggling, or if you've got falling into some bad habits with your food, and you're looking for a bit of a kickstart, how can I just get that first 5 pounds off? And because maybe that if you can just drop 5 pounds over the next 2 or 3 weeks, that's going to kickstart you enough to actually move forwards. Then I'm calling this Lewis's boringly awesome nutrition strategy. I've talked about this before actually, but actually I wasn't aware Lewis had done this until we was chatting earlier. So Lewis is one of our catering coaches, and he dropped something like 35 pounds in body fat in lockdown over 5 weeks, which is insane, because most of you know Lewis is pretty damn lean already. So he got himself pretty ripped, and this is how he did it. He worked out his calories for what his goal was. He had a target in mind of what he wanted to achieve, and what he did was he worked out what foods he'd need to eat to hit those calories, but he didn't want to have to go through the rigmarole of tracking his food every single day, which I completely understand, and I'm sure many of you guys that have tracked your food before can sort of like empathize with. It can be a bit of a ball ache, right? Having to track all the time. So he decided he's going to buy the same food and eat exactly the same food. Now, this is the bit where I'm not going to recommend so much, but he wanted to do it as more of a mindset challenge more than anything. He ate exactly the same meal plan every day for 5 weeks. Okay. Now, he did this, like I said, because he knew that by doing that, he's going to be hitting his calorie deficit target. It was a big calorie deficit, by the way. I think he'd gone from something like 3,500 calories a day down to about 2,000 or even 1,800, which is pretty huge deficit. But I know he struggled for the first 3 or 4 days, but as his hormones sort of equated for the deficit, it got a lot easier. But what can we learn from this? I think what we can learn is keeping things simple. Now, that's probably an extreme version, but even if you were to do something similar for 2 to 3 weeks, maybe not 5 weeks, that's maybe a bit extreme, maybe even a week, all right? 1 week where you not necessarily eat the same thing every day, but maybe you have an A-B day. An A-B day, meaning you have a set meal plan for one day and a set meal plan for the second day, and you just rotate those as you go through the 14 days or the 7 days. Okay, so you know exactly, obviously you maybe need a coach. This is one of the things that we do for our clients, the LPTs. We will set your calorie target for you to achieve the calorie deficit that you need to achieve your goal. But you can go to apps like MyFitnessPal and it will do it for you to some extent as well. So yeah, there's a little strategy for you, is Lewis's boringly awesome nutrition strategy for getting lean. That will definitely, it will help you focus, and it will make you super prepared, and I'd be very surprised if you didn't see results on that. Number 7, and this was meant to be number 7, is you need to be reviewing your progress each week. It's so important to do this. Very few people ever review their progress for their health and fitness goals. And it's a big mistake. It's hard to do because, I understand if you've had a crap week and you've been eating too much or drinking too much or not exercising enough, then the results aren't going to be very good. But guess what? If you don't actually review how you're getting on and what your progress is, then your results aren't ever going to be getting any better either, right? Because once we start telling the truth, once we step on the scale, once we do our tape measurements, waist, hips, waist, once we review our energy levels and we be true to ourselves and say, this week sucked. Like, I had a bad night on Wednesday night, didn't do enough steps, not done enough exercise this week, at least you're having the courage to actually tell yourself the truth. And the more times you do that, the more times you'll get frustrated enough with yourself to actually make some change. And the biggest issue is people get too comfortable with themselves, right? And so they don't see any progress, but because they're kind of in a state of denial, they're not having to, what's the word I'm looking for? Come on guys, help me out here. They're not having to own up to it, I think is what I'm looking for. Yeah. And when we're not owning up to, results not going the way that we want, it's much easier to get complacent and not take action. So hopefully that helps. I just wanted to share a few top tips. Now that we're getting ready to reopen, I'm having lots of conversations with our members about what their goals are. If you're ready to turn things around with your own health and fitness, then get in touch, because we've just opened up a VIP waiting list. So if you're not currently an LPT member, but you really like to get involved or find out how you can get back on track, then what's going to happen is we're going to put you on the VIP waiting list. And then as soon as we open up spots or slots for non-LPT members, then you'll get a free week training with us. Okay, so that's definitely worth doing. How do you do that? You need to, if you're watching this now, then you need to drop me a private message. If you're listening to this back, or if you're listening to this on our Mastering You podcast, then you need to drop us an email at admin@lifestyle-pt.co.uk. That's admin@lifestyle-pt.co.uk. So really looking forward to seeing all of you guys that are coming back. It's been really awesome talking to many of you. We are also, by the way, we are continuing with our online program. So it's one bit of cool news that I've got is if you can't make our in-house sessions, we are opening up LPT Academy. Now, LPT Academy is something I opened up about 3 years ago when we first went online. We closed it down when we opened up our second facility because we were just so damn busy. But what we want to do is we want to have plenty of options for our members. So the online program over the last 4 months during this lockdown has actually gone really well. Lots of people have been finding it really beneficial because it's fitted into their normal daily routine. They're only 30-minute sessions, so if you are an LPT member and your alarm doesn't go off and you miss the 6:15 and you want to make the 7 a.m. from home, then you can still do that. Or if you're not an LPT member, if you're listening to this, back on the podcast, we've got people listening to our Mastering You podcast in Germany, Australia, the USA. You will be able to join our LPT Academy. So it's much more than just an online training program. We have monthly, often weekly masterclasses. We have nutrition coaching, and we're going to give you access to some of our online courses as well. So anyway, it's been great catching up with you all. Hope those of you that have been watching live, thanks very much. Those of you listening back on the record, get in touch. Let us know how you go. One more time on those 7 tips. Write your goals down. Pick your easiest win, the thing that you have most influence over. Find something that's enjoyable. What's the most enjoyable thing that you can get your mojo back with? Get at least 1 hour a day of self-care in. Okay. Number 5 is get yourself accountable. Get a coach or go public with your goals. Number 6 is try out Lewis's boringly awesome nutrition strategy. And number 7 is review your weekly wins or weekly progress. Okay. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Take care. Love you all.